Good evening, everyone. I'm Jennifer Bayless, anchor for WLKY, and I am so happy to welcome you to Gathered, a virtual dinner party. I hope you had a wonderful, delicious dinner with your loved ones, hopefully supporting some of our local restaurants. And we are excited to get this live stream going. Joining me tonight is Emmy, the facility dog here at Family and Children's Place, a nonprofit you'll hear much more about and see in action a bit later. Say hi, Emmy. Shake, shake. There we go. Good job, Emmy. Isn't she the sweetest? Well, tonight, we're going to talk about an issue that's impacting thousands of families right here in Louisville and Southern Indiana. That issue is child abuse and neglect. I'll be honest, this is a tough conversation to have. No one likes to think about the pain and trauma that so many of our little ones and frankly, so many of us adults have experienced. But I want to commend you for tuning in anyway. We can and we must be courageous and face this reality for the sake of our children, our families, and our communities for generations to come. We're going to hear from some incredible people tonight. Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman, Dana, a mother whose daughter was abused at the tender age of 7, and child abuse experts from Family and Children's Place. Please keep your heart open to what you hear tonight. We're going to share a few different ways you can step up to protect and heal children and families without even leaving your couch. We want to make it as easy as possible for you to pitch in because the beneficiary of tonight's event, Family and Children's Place, needs you now more than ever. So let's get down to business. First up, let's go over to the Capitol building in Frankfort to hear from Kentucky's Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman. Lieutenant Governor, the floor is yours.
Hello, everybody. This is Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman. I'm honored to gather with you tonight and speak about something I hold dear to my heart: protecting Kentucky's children. As a teacher, I can speak to the importance of our schools in preventing child abuse and neglect. Schools provide a foundation for children who may otherwise not have a safe home. That's why, right now, it is more important than ever to raise awareness for and help prevent child abuse. Since schools let out in spring due to COVID-19, abuse and neglect reporting has fallen drastically. But we know that child abuse is still occurring and likely worsening. It is everyone's job to ensure that our children are protected. As a working mom, I know that challenges at home are real. With 4 children, I have seen firsthand how this virus has impacted their lives. It has caused stress, warranted sacrifice, and exacerbated many issues associated with child welfare. Before COVID-19, abuse and neglect reports were already on the rise, with much of the increase being due to the opioid and drug epidemic. Kentucky and Indiana rank as some of the worst in the country ravaged by these issues. Now we are also dealing with the impacts of a global pandemic. Our children are experiencing not just one, but 2 public health crises right now. That is why we need to work with our local school districts, health departments, and community organizations to form a safety net for our kids, no matter where they are learning from, home or in a school building. We need to remember that, as mandated reporters, it is our job to recognize the signs of abuse and neglect and know how to report it. That means neighbors, friends, family members, teachers, community members, everyone is required to report abuse and neglect. I'm asking you personally to save the hotline number in your phone and to keep an eye out for children in need. Thank you so much for inviting me to speak, and thank you again for all of the work that you do for our children. Let's continue that work for the well-being of our most vulnerable together. I now want to introduce you to one nonprofit who is leading this fight, Family and Children's Place.
What an introduction. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor Coleman, for joining us tonight for Gathered. We know that you have a lot on your plate right now, and we are grateful that you continue to advocate for vulnerable children and families despite everything that's happening in our world and in Kentucky. Thank you for your service. On behalf of our Board of Directors and staff of Family and Children's Place, I want to thank each of you for dining in and tuning in tonight for Gathered. I've had the great privilege of being part of this organization for 26 years, and I've had the honor of being president and CEO for the past 7 years. And I'm probably a little biased, but I have to tell you that the work that happens every day here at Family and Children's Place is best in class and second to none in our community. Since 1883, we have been boots on the ground on the front lines of child abuse and neglect. Our many partners include law enforcement, public health, healthcare providers, schools, early childhood centers, Child Protective Services, and every one of these partners will attest to how vital it is that our community unite together to prevent, stop, and heal child abuse and neglect. As you can probably imagine, COVID-19 has in some ways changed everything here at Family and Children's Place, but in other ways it's changed nothing at all. Our doors have remained open. All of our programs have continued serving children and families. We have included some necessary and creative safety precautions as well. But we have not faltered in standing strong for every child in our community, and we are committed to being here when this pandemic is over. As Lieutenant Governor Coleman said, we know that child abuse and neglect are almost certainly getting worse during this pandemic. So we are planning ahead and gearing up now for the influx of children and families who will walk through our doors needing our critical services. So here, we want to show you what it looks like, how our team is working tirelessly to protect and heal children and families. Let's watch the video.
Right now, in our community, children are being abused and neglected during a time in their life when their only concerns should be playing, learning, growing, and being loved. Family and Children's Place stands in the gap, turning their hurt into hope. Since 1883, we have protected and healed children and families, and we will never stop. Through these doors, we prevent child abuse and neglect. Our HANDS program empowers parents to create healthy, safe, and nurturing environments for their newborn babies. Last year, our home visitors taught essential parenting skills to more than 550 families. Our newest program, Greater Louisville Head Start, gives an additional 550 infants and preschoolers and their families the educational and health resources they need to reach their full potential, regardless of circumstances at birth. And our school-based services bolster the social and emotional health not only of local elementary and middle school students, but also of their families, all while improving academic success. Through these doors, we stop child abuse and neglect. Our best-in-class child advocacy centers are the frontline responders to more than 1,100 children each year who are hurt by abuse and neglect. In fact, we are the only organization that coordinates the efforts of child protection staff, law enforcement professionals, prosecutors, medical experts, and mental health clinicians, all under one roof. We do it all with the utmost care and compassion. Through these doors, we heal child abuse and neglect. Our counseling services care for nearly 1,000 families each year who have been impacted by child abuse and neglect, as well as other forms of trauma in their home or in our community. Our staff consists of licensed clinicians who use proven techniques to reignite hope where it once was lost. This is Family and Children's Place. We envision happy, healthy children and families, free from abuse. Will you join us today?
I don't know about you, but I'm just blown away by how much good work is happening at Family and Children's Place. Thank you, Pam, for leading such a dedicated team of professionals. So I mentioned at the start of tonight's live stream that the realities of child abuse and neglect are difficult for so many of us to face. I know how it affects me as a member of the media, and even more so as a mom, when I have to report on these stories. It is incredibly frustrating to know that Kentucky has the #1 highest rate of child abuse and neglect in the nation, and Indiana's not far behind at #9. Let me say loud and clear, we can do better, we must do better, and we will do better with your help. I hope that as you hear more about Family and Children's Place, you'll feel as encouraged and motivated to action as I am. I want to now introduce you to Dana. Dana's daughter Harper experienced the unimaginable, but they're sharing their story tonight because they want you to know that healing is possible, hope is possible, and you can be a part of bringing hope to children just like Harper. We'll tell you how in just a few minutes. Go ahead and grab some tissues for this sweet family's story.
Though her innocence was taken and she was violated, I have to continue to make sure she has a childhood she remembers as happy, not full of scary thoughts, anxiety, or not being able to trust people. I pray that my daughter and family grow stronger from this. Well, I'm Dana, and I'm from Jeffersonville, Indiana, and I have 4 children, so single mom to 4. I have a 14-year-old son, a 12-year-old daughter, and then 11-year-old twin daughters. I first heard about Family and Children's Place after I'd found out that my daughter had been involved in a situation where a family friend had been inappropriate with her. Harper's trauma was something that she dealt with for 15 months before I even knew it had happened. Harper was not the only victim with our perpetrator, and he had shown up in her life here and there, popping in at school, helping with other kids. And finally, it was January 31st. She proceeded to tell 2 of her friends at recess that day that she didn't know why people were talking about her perpetrator because it had happened to her too. And she was the typical poster child of sexual abuse. She told her friends, "My mom doesn't know about this. You cannot tell your moms. They'll tell my moms and she doesn't know, and I don't want her upset with me." And I thank God for those 2 little girls who went home and immediately told their parents. Because I received a phone call. As soon as the first mom heard, I immediately received a phone call. It took probably 20 minutes to process what I had just been told on the phone. And the next few days were a whirlwind. So through the Jeffersonville Police Department and our investigation of things, we had to go in for forensic interviews. So all 3 of my daughters were scheduled forensic interviews with through Family and Children's Place. Going into the interviews, I worried all weekend, knowing you can't talk to your kids prior, just their questions that they had as to why are we doing this? Where are we going? Who was talking to me? I didn't have answers for them, but Family and Children's Place made the experience tolerable. They were very welcoming to us when we showed up in the morning. They were helpful. They made me feel like they wanted to help us. They cared about us as a family walking in. I spoke to a lady while my daughters were in their interview, and she went through, these are some things you may see here. You may want to look into some counseling. We offer counseling, and she said, but there are other agencies as well. And so I said, thank you. I took my folder home. I went through it, and I thought, she's been dealing with this for 15 months. We're gonna be fine. I'll just kind of monitor. Well, looking back and after it had come out and she was able to probably relax because we knew now she didn't have to hide it anymore. We started seeing some not sleeping at night, having bad dreams, the baby talk. She wanted to quit dance. She wanted to not go anywhere. She wanted to not play with her friends. She tried to pull away. And so I said, okay, I think we need to set something up. So Harper and her twin sister and myself all received counseling services from Miss Margaret. Harper from her trauma. Her sister was in the room when it happened, so she also received services. And then as a parent of a victim, I received services with Miss Margaret. She was absolutely everything that the three of us needed. Harper looked forward to going and seeing Miss Margaret on Wednesdays.
Well, whenever I first met her, I had fill out a lot of papers and stuff, and I was kind of nervous because I didn't know what I was doing or anything. But then we started to play a lot of games, and it was fun.
What kind of games did you get to play?
We played a lot of board games, and we played in the sand, and we sometimes did crafts, and she taught me how to make a dream catcher. She would ask me ask me about my day, and she would ask me if I wanted to act it out in the sand. So I would act out my day in the sand, and we would do movies with all the characters. What I miss about going to see Miss Margaret is probably getting to talk with her every week and playing the games with her and just doing fun stuff in there.
Margaret really helped. We would not have baby talk for a week, and we would celebrate it with Miss Margaret. Eventually we got to where we weren't crawling in bed with me in the middle of the night, and the nightmares finally went away, and Margaret was able to help her process those things so that we could move past them. She was very helpful to me. I had a lot of guilt. I felt guilt that I wasn't able to protect her. I felt guilt with the fact that if I had known something had happened, we could have protected some of the other children. Margaret helped me so much from continuous beating myself up. And I can now say, it's not my fault. And I couldn't say that then.
So I'm very thankful for Miss Margaret and Children's Family Place for helping me.
Thank you for everything. Without you, we probably would be in shambles.
Wow, I am so in awe of Harper, as I'm sure you are too. Such a strong and resilient little girl. Dana, you have given us an incredible gift by sharing your family story. On behalf of everyone tuning in tonight, I want to thank you for bringing awareness to the heart-wrenching reality of child abuse and neglect, bringing light to these experiences, and for helping us lift the burden of shame from your daughter and thousands of other survivors just like her. Stories like this really resonate with me because I too was a target of sexual abuse at the age of 14. I clearly remember all the conflicting emotions, the confusion, the guilt, and ultimately the pain of being betrayed by somebody that I trusted. Now, all these years later, I serve on the board of directors here at Family and Children's Place, and I get to help protect and heal thousands of people just like me and Harper. So tonight, right now, I'm asking all of you to join us in this mission. Folks, please don't think twice. Go to our website, famchildplace.org, or text the number on your screen. Please give now. No gift is too big or too small. Every single dollar counts for these kids. Your donation will fund our child advocacy centers, which give children like Harper a safe place to open up about physical and sexual abuse so that law enforcement and prosecutors can bring the perpetrators to justice. These centers are absolutely critical to protecting children and our communities. Your donation will help keep these centers going. Your donation will also fund our counseling program. Even during this pandemic, our therapists are meeting virtually with children and families who are suffering and pain. They are patient guides on the road to healing, and as you heard from Dana, your donation right now will keep this critical program going. And finally, perhaps most importantly, your donation will fund our prevention programs. We obviously must deal with child abuse after the fact and try to remediate it. But wouldn't it be wonderful if we could prevent it from ever happening in the first place? The programs that we support seek to do just this. We actually visit with families and children within schools and even in their homes, or virtually, of course, during the pandemic. We teach and empower parents to create healthy, safe, and nurturing environments for their children, especially their babies. And your donation right now will keep these prevention programs going. I fell in love with Family and Children's Place almost as soon as I heard about it, and I hope this is the case for you too. Louisville and Southern Indiana are wonderful places to live. I moved here 10 years ago and I have no plans to ever leave. I want to help make this a better community, and we can do that by addressing the crisis of child abuse and neglect. The more than 49,000 children in Kentucky and Indiana who were abused last year, think about that, 49,000. They are relying on us. We can turn their hurt into hope. So again, if you haven't already, please go to famchildplace.org or text the number on your screen to make a donation. Please give now. Thank you. Jennifer and Emmy, I'm sending it back to you.
Thank you, Rich, for sharing so personally and courageously. Friends, thank you so much for dining in and tuning in tonight. Emmy and I were so happy to have you. You showed up for Gathered because you care about children and families, and I hope this live stream inspired you to take your next step, whether that's making a financial donation, volunteering your time, or even something as simple as saving the child abuse hotline numbers in your phone. Please don't go to sleep tonight without taking one step, just one. Your action tonight can change, maybe even save the life of a child like Harper. So one last time, please go to famchildplace.org and click on the link to make a donation, or text the number on your screen. Tonight's live stream will continue to be available online, so feel free to rewatch it or maybe even share it with someone you know. Just visit famchildplace.org/gathered. From me, Emmy, and all of tonight's guests, thank you for joining us for Gathered. Good night.